Get in the know. Non-stop Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
You guys, I love you. I mean it. From the bottom of my heart. I will ride with this group until they don't let us play anymore games.
Yes, let's fire it up here with a special guest on a Thursday episode of Purple Daily. You see him there on your YouTube screen. You're going to hear him on the podcast feed. Kevin O'Connell joins in just a second, but this is Purple Daily, Daily Vikings Entertainment. Thank you guys for making this one of the most consumed football podcasts in America. According to Apple, we are greatly appreciative of you. A shout out to our friends at TCL, one of the award-winning TVs, I should say, for any budget, any space, all with stunning picture quality. TCL makes more than just TVs. They offer mobile products, audio devices, and home appliances. TCL brings you joy and simplicity through innovative technology. Learn more at TCL.com. A man who helped the Vikings to 13 wins in his first season as a head coach and the greatest comeback in NFL history. You could put that on the resume, too. Kevin O'Connell, making his second appearance on Purple Daily, which makes you officially, I think, a friend of the show. Multiple appearances makes you a friend of the show now.
I'm pretty fired up about that. I appreciate you guys having me on. It's been a while. It seems like it was about 3-4 years ago at this point with all that has transpired since the last time I was able to join you guys, but I appreciate you having me on, man.
So that clip that we played, which we actually play a bunch on this show, when you're talking to the team, I'd like to compliment you on something I think is truly an art form. When you use an F-bomb, you do it with great effect. I feel like you don't just throw them around like some guys, like myself occasionally do, right? I feel like that use of that was like perfect because it was like, yeah, that's exactly it. So I want to compliment you. When you curse, you do it with a purpose, which I think is a hidden gem asset of people.
Yeah, it's a talent.
You know what? I don't like the fact that I try not to. It tends to happen a lot more on game day during the 3.5 hours of a football game, and then the only time it'll come out after the game in the locker room with the guys is when I'm just filled with the emotion and the excitement. And half the time that's my way of telling myself in my mind, hey, you're talking too much. Land the plane, man. You start to feel the excitement of the room. They feel it. And then it might be dipping a little bit, and it might be time just for one timely word or two there at the end. But no, I half the time that was new for me. I've never been the guy speaking after games. So that was something that I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed being able to feel not only the moment after some of those huge wins, but some of the losses as well, where I knew one way or the other what I said would guide the path of our organization into the next challenge that in some cases was 4 days away on Thanksgiving against the Patriots, coming off of the Dallas game that did not go our way. And then later on in the year, losing, at Green Bay when we wanted to go up there and win that game. But hey, let's, make sure we understand what's out in front of us and go get a win at Chicago and then try to give ourselves a chance in the playoffs.
Hey, how are you and Kwesi? And I'm sure this has been a big part of your discussions for, 5 months going back to the end of the season. How do you push back against the inevitable forces of regression? The 11-0 and one score games, the schedule gets tougher because there's an extra road game. Just roster turnover, the comeback wins. How do you guys, so 13-win team, but every season is different. How do you sort of fend off the inevitable forces of regressing back, maybe down from 13 wins?
Well, I think it's important that we take a long look at, regardless of the outcome of any of those games, we dive into each and every one of them: offense, defense, special teams, situational. How do we manage the football, turnover margin? Where did our penalties tend to show up? We were one of the least penalized teams in the NFL, but let's dive in on what were we doing that we were getting flagged for? What situations of the game did that show up? So what I've tried to do is just take a 30,000-foot view and starting with myself, what can I do personally as the head coach, play caller of our team to help give our guys a better chance to have consistent success throughout games. We got started off in a lot of our games last year well. What created some of the times in games where a critical third down would come and go and we wouldn't convert, and then that would be the start of a quote unquote lull in the game, and then we would have to overcome that. How do we just play more consistent? How do we incorporate our new defensive scheme to help truly be complementary to the other phases, and then continuing to see Matt Daniels and our special teams find their winning edges despite some of the rule changes and things to still be a critical factor, and not only Greg putting points on the board in critical moments, but Ryan Wright changing field position, and then our coverage teams making sure that we're eating up every possible field position when we can. And then overall, just to put a bow on it, just there's no reason in the world why we can't continue to emphasize being situational masters and winning close games, because in those moments, I feel like our players in a short amount of time developed that confidence and quieted mind in those moments to go just execute just a little bit better than the teams we were playing in those moments. And my goal is we, just do it a little bit better this year and maybe not be in those situations as much. But if we are, I know our guys will have confidence based upon what we did last year.
From a culture standpoint too, in year two now, I find it interesting because I think that you and Kwesi did a very good job of sort of laying a foundation in year one for culture, Kevin. But I'm curious, how do you go about it? Because you are also involved in a sport that's relatively or is ruthless at times. Like you've got to cut guys have to go. And like you took a chunk of guys who you liked, the team liked, and they're gone now. So going into year two, how do you weigh how to set that culture? But yet players have to see friends go. Well, what's the approach there?
Yeah, I think there's really a couple ways to look at it, Judd. The relationship side of it for me, building our culture in year one, I don't take for granted one day those relationships, both last year and as I've told a lot of our players that have moved on to other opportunities. Those relationships I care about those players. I care about their families. I care about where they go from here. I've had dialogue, once some moves were made. I've had dialogue with guys that are no longer our players, and they're, talking to me about possible, hey, this destination, or what do you think about this place or this offense or defense or whatever it is. And it's because of, I think, the fact that they, if they know nothing else about me after being around me for a year, they at least know two things: that I'm going to be authentic and that I care about them. That's genuine. That's not made up. That's not coach speak. That's just my personality and how I have decided to be a head coach in this league. I think everybody can do it differently. The business side of things, Judd, it's a real thing. We play on a salary cap. We've got to project for hopefully years to come of how we're putting together our football team and building things. I think there's always going to be difficult decisions. As I tell our team, every opportunity I can. I wish we could keep all 90 guys on our roster now, but there's going to come a time when we've got to cut that roster down to 53 and 16 practice squad spots. But I tell them, I want all 90 of you guys listening to me speak right now to be on an NFL team this year. And you do that by playing good football. You do that by preparing yourself for training camp. And you do that by having a competitive training camp and then feeling like you can go compete in these preseason games and put, a bunch of good film on tape for all to see. And whoever we cut, everybody that gets claimed, signed, put on a practice squad somewhere else, you can feel a little bit of a victory right alongside those guys for how you poured into those guys and tried to help continue their NFL journey.
Totally different path here. Maybe I'm an idiot for not knowing this. Maybe this has been a thing that's out there for a long time, but I found out recently that was your dad an FBI agent?
He was, yes.
What was that like, and what did that mold you at all?
Oh yeah, I just he worked so incredibly hard. He somehow found a way to, when I think back on my childhood, he was there for critical. I think back on, hey, Little League, Pop Warner football, high school football, basketball, whatever it was, and he was always seemed to be there. but somehow he was never there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
He worked a lot, and I just remember him, leaving early, coming home late, and feeling a lot of passion for what he did, trying to, help people and protect people, and just, it meant the world to him. I just remember feeling like I want to have a job someday that I care about as much as he cares about his, but still cares about his family as much as he does, and was a great father, a great husband. It gave me something to really strive to be in my own right when I was able to figure out my path finally. After trying to take an attempt at becoming an NFL player, I think the NFL coach thing felt a little more comfortable based upon my skill sets.
Speaking of that, as far as head coaching goes, what did you learn about yourself in year one that you might change in year two? Like, were there things, and they could be small, but were there things that you came up against that you handled a certain way in year one, look back at that in retrospect and said, I think I would change that, in 2023 in this case?
Yeah, I think it's the things that I continue to go back on it's all time management for me. I'd never want to feel like I'm shortchanging anybody or any phase of my preparation or any of our coaching staff. So whether it's, how we deliver, how we come out of games post game, and making sure that I'm first and foremost, I always wanted to make sure that I was prepared and able to properly message to our team where I thought we were at, what the expectations were for the current challenge, and then how we were going to go about doing that. And I feel very strongly about when you speak to your team, a couple things happen. You get what you emphasize, and you sure as heck better be prepared to articulate a message that will resonate with how those guys currently feel as a group. When you ask them to grow together and be connected as a team, you better be willing to pour in and talk to them in a way where they feel like you're pouring everything you got into it right alongside with them. And I feel very strongly about that being a major priority. And then obviously my phase with coaching the team, and then into being the offensive coordinator, and having great coaches now, around me on the offensive side. 1 year into it, we've all done it together. They know the way I kind of game plan. They know the ways that I can say, hey guys, here's a couple of the things I'm really looking at, and then I'm going to build some packages off of that. But I need you to make sure you're focusing in these areas. That helps a ton. And then, the time management thing as the week gets later, that's when the game plan's in, our team knows knows what it's going to take to win the football game. They know the challenges. They know, how we're going to tactically go about playing. Then it's on me to kind of really piece together situationally how I see myself wanting to handle game management, and then also how I see myself calling plays, the openers, how we want to be, aggressive or be in attack mode early, whatever it looks like. Really being able to find that time, and quite honestly, it's a lot of time that I spend on my own early or late at night, whatever it is, when I feel like I've poured into everybody else. I've done my job, and now I need to make sure I'm solidifying myself, being comfortable calling plays this weekend. So I don't know if that answers your question. It's just a lot that I try to maximize my time. And then it's really important to me too, to make sure I don't forget about my wife and kids, and make sure there's a little bit of time for them, because they sacrifice so much for me to do this job. I want to make sure that I'm still around for them.
Yeah, and on the football front, it always feels like, from a fan sort of media perspective, it feels like the area where coaches get hammered the most is that game management, whether it's timeout usage or whatever. It seems like from afar, you have a really good handle on that. And I'm not just trying to blow smoke, but you seem to preserve timeouts. You seem to understand final 4 minutes of the first half, and first 4 minutes of the second half. And what is your studying like for those moments? I mean, you can sit there and you have to put together schemes and play sheets and everything, but how do you study for the end chess game, which sometimes can win or cost you a handful of games over the course of a season?
Yeah, I think a couple things. We have a coach here named Ryan Cordell, who is heavily involved in our game management in real time during those situations. He's kind of the guy that I can bounce things off of. Hey, here's what I'm thinking, and we can kind of navigate that together. He also does basically a week in and week out, Phil, like catalog of the league. So if a situation comes up between Houston and Indy, we can then take the TV copies, break down the different replays that they show. And then we produce a meeting for our team on Fridays called Situational Masters. And
so if you happen to be in a situation where you're down 33-0 specifically, you guys have some tape on that. You can figure it out.
That's exactly right. Yeah, no, I've come up with some bullet points, 33-0, that metaphor for life for people as far as how you go about eventually winning that opportunity. But that day I'll never forget. Just people forget there was, it was not adversity was not over just at halftime. We turned the ball over. The officials were seeming to do everything they could to try to help as well. So
we'll edit that out. We'll make sure you don't decline there, Kevin. The officials.
Roger Goodell wants to talk to you, Kevin.
Yeah.
Dak, we got you guys is tremendous.
KLC, I got one last question for you here. So during our summertime here on the podcast, we like to review just random movies, action movies, rom-com movies, sports movies. I'm curious, what is Kevin O'Connell's favorite action movie and rom-com? What comes to mind?
Oh man, action movie. I mean, recency bias. Does Top Gun 2, Top Gun, and Top
Maverick,
Top Gun 2, yeah.
That ending scene, although you could probably, if you were really keeping score on game management there, you could probably see the ending coming a little bit.
Yeah.
But I still enjoyed the heck out of that, just being an original fan of the first one. Actually, I watched that movie coming home from London. I'd seen it already, but you're like, oh, I'm just going to pop this thing on. I need to get some sleep. However long later, I'm like, holy cow, I just watched that whole movie and still got tears in my eyes. But rom-com, that's a little bit more of a serious debate, especially with my wife and I of what it is. I'll tell you what is the movie with Matthew McConaughey? And,
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days?
Yes.
Mackie.
We share a birthday week and our favorite rom-com.
I swear to you, I knew we had more than just that birthday week in common.
Just a couple of elite football minds born in May of 1985 who love Matthew McConaughey rom-coms.
Two guys that played Madden probably growing up.
Indecipherable from each other.
I will say it doesn't. I haven't had a ton of time to get to the movie theater lately, and when we did, I think it was the Paw Patrol movie might have been the last one my family went to. But as far as my wife and I are concerned, I do think we're lacking in the rom-com quality as of late. But I don't want to start any kind of controversy there. But I'd love to see a little bit more.
Maybe we'll give Kevin at some point a homework assignment. He can join us for a rom-com rewind podcast. Maybe we'll do that sometime.
Sounds good, man. Appreciate you guys.
Awesome.
Thank you, Kevin.
Kevin O'Connell, Minnesota Vikings head coach. Friend of the show now.
No good questions, though. No good questions.
You already got yours yesterday.
I got mine a couple days ago. I guess I got to wait.
Yeah, I can't give you 2 in 1 week.
Thank you.
Yeah, you gotta keep your ego in check, Judd. All right, Kevin. Thanks for joining, man.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. See you.
Bye.
All right, there he is, man, making his second appearance here on the show. That was fun. I'm pleasantly surprised that he said how to lose a guy in 10 days.
Yeah.
Proud of that guy.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. He seems like that would be, and it's a good film. So it's not like oh my gosh, can't believe that. I mean, it's solid. It's very solid.
Yeah, it was good. And Top Gun Maverick, by the way, if you're wondering about Top Gun Maverick and our thoughts on it, movie reviews with Mackie and Judd podcast feed, Apple, Spotify, anywhere you find podcasts. Before we jump into a random Viking of the week, we can also just kind of recap Kevin O'Connell and get to anything else you guys want to. A shout out to our friends at Manscaped by the way, old Macadac just got his Manscaped beard hedger in the mail a couple days ago. ready to unleash on this scraggly bad boy here.
Yeah, whether you have that nice one for your beard trimmer, you got the one below the belt too. These are waterproof. So no, when you head to the beach or the lake or even hell when you're showering, right? You don't got to worry about having this thing zap you because it's waterproof, which is super nice. Obviously, Father's Day is coming up too, so you can get your dad one, get yourself one. Right now at Manscaped, when you use promo code PURPLE, you will get 20% off plus free shipping on anything at Manscaped, whether that's the beard trimmer, whether that's the lawnmower below the belt, any of the products they have too, the nice travel bag that I use when I'm out and about, that's really good. When I'm getting on the airplane or headed to the cabin too, go to manscaped.com, promo code PURPLE, 20% off plus free shipping.
Also, hello to our friends at Power Lodge and Miller Marine. It's a great time to get out on a body of water in a Bennington pontoon. Miller Marine, by the way, the largest Bennington dealer in the country, I believe. So if you're looking for some throttle therapy, Judd, Bennington is the ride for you.
And if you are watching this right now, just look at that gorgeous, gorgeous night. You're on the water, on your Bennington, and look at what's in front of this guy. Yeah, that's right. The ability to listen to Purple Daily, Mackie and Judd, whatever you want. The relaxation, it doesn't end when you get on that Bennington. And as Phil said, start getting some throttle therapy. This is the way to spend your summer.
Yes. Any just before we get to Random Viking of the Week here, any just quick thoughts from you guys on Kevin O'Connell jumping back in here?
So I think the interesting thing, in my opinion, is weighing the fact that, as I said, this is a brutal business where people have to be released, and it's not just newcomers. Like, when you cut the 90-man roster down, you're letting go of guys. I'm sure at times it's like, okay, that's too bad, but it's a lot of guys that you don't know well. But Thielen and Cook and Kendricks, you're going through a litany of players who are well known there, and he's talked about this before, but I find it to be very genuine that he does his best, and I think this is the key about having a GM too, that he does his best to maintain contact too, because what was Zim known for? Sort of being the Ice King, right? You got let go, you were let go. See ya. And there was a time in football where I think that was fine. I think that approach was fine. That time's not now. Mm-hmm. I think it says a lot. There's a reason why, and O'Connell's a big part of this. There's a reason why in that first ever Players Association poll, the Vikings were number one.
Yeah. And
I think it's the ability to actually keep things personalized while making tough decisions. And what I love about this is too, and this is why I never like it when a coach has too much control, is the coach can sort of disassociate himself. Hey, Adam, we loved you, but it's just time, Kwesi, blah, blah, blah. I mean, Kwesi's a fall guy there, and that's fine too. So I really think it's important, because the way that you get free agents and the way that you get a good reputation is partially based on how you treat people, and it has to be with a level of dignity. This is not 1976 where you cut a guy and said, too bad, see ya, good luck.
He's a likable human.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a lot of football coaches, and Lord knows we've, I guess, in our careers been around enough sports coaches in football, basketball, baseball, that there's some cantankerous asses. Yep. And there's some guys that don't talk on the level of a fan or a media member, because it would be perceived as them, it would be like a hit to their ego or something. Like he knows how to level with people. He knows how to talk to people on a human level, I guess, and connect with people. And it really stands out even in just like 15, 20-minute interviews like this.
I feel like the new breed too is not cantankerous asses. It's robotic humans. Yeah. I feel like the new breed is a perfect example, and he's not a bad guy at all, though. Rocco. Rocco's sort of robotic. Yeah. And I think there's far more there. He's just not going to show you that.
You got to get him to a Fish concert or something. And then
exactly.
Grateful Dead.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, but just a quick anecdote for the audience before we turn the microphones on, and maybe this is just like a good PR assist too, but he asked me about living in Seattle. I had to say, well, we actually moved back a couple months ago, but he didn't have to dig into his bag of knowledge about one of us to, but he wants to connect with people on a human level. And so he's like,
and we're
hey,
pals,
man,
so he didn't need me.
Well, you guys are good friends.
Yeah, you guys are really good friends.
Right. Good questions thrown out, although not in this case.
So Dex, what about you? What kind of stood out on your end?
Yeah, I thought he was just cool to hear his dad's stories too. I mean, his dad was an FBI agent, and to his point,
Was
I'm
that
sure
widely known? Am I just like
At the time,
he
he was
hired.
Chris Thomason did a big piece, I think,
Okay.
on him at the time. I think he helped. I think his old man, if I'm not mistaken, helped bring Whitey Bulger down.
Was it Whitey Bulger? There's like he's like in a Netflix documentary or something. His dad.
He helped bring someone of repute.
Or was it Gotti?
down.
Was it Gotti?
It might have been Gotti, but it was somebody big.
But yeah, I'm sure he was working those 80-hour weeks and crazy FBI clearance. Like, I'm sure that's impossible to have like a normal life when you work for the FBI. That's obviously like the least surprising statement in the world. So the fact he was still involved and what he probably glistened from that, I mean, you could probably put some parallels in a Venn diagram between FBI agent and head coach of an NFL football team. Like, those are jobs where you are away a ton. And how do I still be a family man? How do I still be a better person at my job and whatnot? I thought it was really interesting to hear.
Yes. So thanks to Kevin for joining the show here. Now officially a friend of the show now that he's been on twice.
Whoa. We got buzzard. I mean, no good question points.
No.
That's why and he gave me one 2 days ago at his press conference, but I wanted it here.
I also, real quick,
I didn't do my job there.
I know people are going to be mad about like some of the things we didn't ask. Why didn't you ask about Kirk? Why didn't you ask about Lewis Seen? Well, one, his schedule's tight, and so we only really had like 15 to 20 minutes. Second, we're not going to be able to get every question in. Maybe we can get him on again at some point. It's become, I guess, kind of an annual thing. But like those questions are asked at press conferences too.
Podium questions.
So I don't know. We want to ask him about rom-coms.
Yeah.
We want to have some fun with the guy. I guess we already know all of his thoughts on like the players on the team because he talks about those guys all the time at press conferences.
Well, and we got he talked extensively pretty much 2 days ago about Hunter's absence, Jefferson being there. The Kirk contract ain't going to change since, as Kirk said yesterday, he has not been approached about an extension again. I don't think there's any huge wide open questions left right now. That will change, obviously, as training camp approaches.
Yeah. So, all right. Thanks again to Kevin O'Connell. Appreciate that. It's time now for a random Viking of the week here. Presented by our friends at 3 Jack, a great lunch spot, North Loop, Minneapolis. Declan.
And we got the nacho burger this week. We got different burgers every week at 3 Jack. Yes, you can book a golf day, and you should. Always get your swings in, okay? Especially a guy like me who's trying to consistently get under 100, okay? I got to get as much swings in as possible, whether that's outside or indoor at one of their great simulators. However, they also have one of the best lunch spots in town. It's a hidden gem. Mackie, Judd, and myself were able to go there a few months ago and check it out. I used to go there all the time when I was in the North Loop. It's one of the best spots for a cold one as well. Go to 3jack.com to book that bay and go to 3jack.com for a nice happy hour or a nice little lunch there. Great food, great golf. That's 3jack.com.
Let's go. All right, here are the rules, and we are changing this up now going forward here because Judd is going to be giving clues this week. Losers out every week. So whoever loses between me and Declan gives the clues next week. If you win, you get to stay on the court, just like a pickup basketball game. So last week, Declan continued his 5-game winning streak over Judd by guessing Josh Freeman correctly. A few of the most recent random Vikings include Josh Freeman, Brad Johnson, Fred Smoot, Greg Lewis, Roman Reigns, and Anthony Carter. Judd has a 53-25-8 lead over Declan and myself. Judd's going to throw out a series of clues. Declan and I get up to 3 incorrect guesses before we're eliminated. We can ask Judd questions, but he can refuse to answer if he wants. It's his game. So let's do it. No cheating, no Googling.
And my clues come from a real sheet of paper here.
Oh, wow. Hopefully you can read your handwriting.
2 of them, actually. It's printing. Didn't even bother. All right. Clue number 1. This former Viking played college football in the Big East. Clue number 2.
Big East.
This former Viking hails from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Clue number 3.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right.
We're flying here.
Yeah,
We're flying.
bang.
All right. Let's no.
I can slow down.
No, we don't need it. We don't need to process.
I don't think you're going to guess off
we don't need
those
to process. I might.
Okay.
I have a guess in mind right now.
Do you want to make it?
I'll wait for one more clue.
Okay. This former Viking played in 166 career games and started 80 of those.
Huh.
You want to guess?
No.
Okay. Clue number 4. He started all 16 games in 1999 and 2002, but only one of those came as a Viking. So during his career, only twice did he start all 16 games in a season, at the time 16, but only once was he a Viking when he did it.
Okay, now things are getting serious. Because now we know an era. We know an era.
Yes, you do. Clue number 5. This former Viking had 2 career interceptions and 3 touchdowns in the National Football League.
Oh, boy.
You said only 2 interceptions, Judd?
2 career interceptions and 3 touchdowns in the National Football League.
Oh, God.
Okay. I'm going to guess.
Okay.
I just want to throw one out there. Greg Beekert.
You can give him the buzzer. All right, so Phil has 1 guess down. He has 2 more to go. Declan's still with all 3 of his guesses.
Okay.
Clue number 6. During his time in college, again in the Big East, he owned the record for solo tackles in a career with 288 with his college team, while his 429 total tackles ranked second in the school record book. So again, these are for the school he attended.
Is it Kylie Wong?
Is that an official guess?
Yes.
You can give him the buzzer.
I thought Wong, but he didn't play 166 games. I don't think he did, I guess.
All right.
I'm just going to look up Kylie Wong to see how many games.
Doogie is chiming in, too, from the studio that he did also not play in the Big East. Doogie, your mic's now hot, too, by the way.
Hey, thanks. I'm glad somebody called me hot. It's about time. My wife doesn't call me that anymore. Yeah, Kylie Wong, Stanford, right?
Don't hijack my segment, Wolfson.
He did go to Stanford.
Yes, Stanford.
He went to Stanford.
Stanford.
But
This is all about
sit
me
back
and my
listen.
clues, Darren.
he did
My
play all
money is on
16
Phil and
games in
Declan
2002.
failing miserably at this, that they will not get it.
Okay.
I just got here, so I don't even know what the first 5 clues were, but I'll take my chances over theirs.
Why don't you
All
pipe
right.
down, Doogie? Why don't you pipe
Next
down?
clue. Next clue. To hone in on the era, this player was a second-round pick in 1996, but not by the Vikings.
I got to be careful because I'm.
Yeah,
like,
you're-
if I guess wrong, Declan just
Wins by default. Okay.
close to a win here.
Dex, do you want to guess, or are you?
I am
And he doesn't know
really
the era.
struggling. No, I mean, I know the era. I just don't know the position group of the. It's clearly a linebacker. It's a linebacker.
I don't know if
It's
it is.
obvious.
It probably.
You don't have 200 plus tackles in college without.
It's a linebacker,
It's
yes.
a linebacker. I just don't know what
maybe-
linebacker it would be.
Or perhaps
And we've
he
already
played
done one of the main
linebacker at one
linebackers.
point. And perhaps he played linebacker in college and moved in the pros. Just throwing it out there.
Oh, God.
This former Viking began and ended his career on the West Coast. In between, he played in Minnesota. His stay with the Vikings lasted 5 seasons in the aughts.
Oh my God. I mean, I'm just like, I'm literally running through all of the linebackers from that era. We've already done 2 of them.
Again, I will give you the clue. Perhaps he played linebacker in college and moved
Okay.
Yeah.
to the defensive line
It's-
as a pro.
Oh, perhaps. Perhaps that happened.
How about the specific college?
Do you know? Well,
The specific college was Temple
so
My
Doogie's
dad's
got
alma
it.
mater.
Doogie's probably got it.
in the Big East at the time.
God, dude.
A school that left the Big East and later returned. But when this guy played, they were a Big East school. All right. Next clue.
Nope.
He forced 8 fumbles as a Viking and 19 in his career.
Drafted in '96. We did.
And I did control F this one to make sure he hadn't been done. Just so you both know that I controlled F his name.
Wow. I think but he went out west. How far west? How far west? Like all the way out west or kind of out west?
He played for one of the teams at the time based in California. All the way out west.
That is no longer in California.
So Dukes knows this one. Okay, I'm going to give you the next one. Someone's going to get this.
I have a guess, but I also if I'm wrong, I'm out. And I kind of feel like I want Declan to. I don't think Declan's anywhere near this one, so I want him to walk the plank a little here. I don't want to just walk off the.
I think the next clue is going to be a tipping point in today's game. He had 72 career sacks, 41 as a Viking.
John Randall.
Nope.
I don't know. I don't know.
I have a. Oh my god! I think
Phil?
I think so.
I can keep
John
going.
Randall.
I named one.
They get simpler. Okay.
Done Big Pat, so it's not Pat.
Derek Alexander.
Is that an official guess?
Yeah.
You're out.
God dang it.
The player in question, Darren, was
Lance Johnstone.
Johnstone. We've already
Johnstone.
haven't we done Johnstone?
I controlled F'd him. I couldn't find him.
That's his name. I swear to God, we did Lance Johnstone.
We've guessed him as a random Viking. We haven't used.
I controlled. Declan told me
There's
if
no
you pick
Lance
somebody,
in mine.
You're
control,
right, dude.
Control F them.
I would
and
not
I
have gotten
swear
that.
to God, his name was in my head the entire time
Pass rush
after the third
specialist.
clue.
That was the next
and I
clue.
thought we had done him before.
Yep, pass rush
So
specialist.
Declan gets what a buzzkill. Gets a default victory there.
I thought you'd get that one, Phil.
Derek Alexander, Phil? Don't you remember the Derek Alexander story? Was that the 1995 draft, Judd?
That's the
First
Warren
round?
Sapp. Yeah, Warren Sapp.
That was the Warren Sapp.
Pisses me
94.
off.
I was at my buddy Zach's house. Zach is
I
now
was in
married
front of
to
my
an
TV in my
influential
recliner.
media personality in town that works at one of the competitive outlets that we battle on a regular basis. Maybe somebody that I have a little bit of a history with, but that's another story. Anyway, I remember being in Zach's living room shouting at the TV as a 15-year-old, saying, "What the bleep are you doing passing on Warren Sapp?" They passed on Warren Sapp for Derek Alexander.
All right.
in
That's
1994,
today's
right? 1994.
Random Viking of the week.
Wow, that was the worst possible performance
that was
from both
awful.
of us.
That was terrible.
I should be ashamed. Lance Johnstone was. It's my mistake. I thought we had done him, so he was off the board in my mind. Wow.
Yeah, I was control
Anyways.
effing a lot of those linemen. I was like, we've done this one, we've done this one, we've done this one.
Well, you live and you learn in a Random Viking.
Kevin
of the Week
O'Connell
here.
would have gotten it.
I don't know if he would have gotten that
he
one. That's a
won't.
pretty
No,
obscure pull.
No, he'd have no chance.
All right, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks again to Kevin O'Connell for joining Purple Daily here. Daily Vikings Entertainment. We'll see you for a Feedback Friday tomorrow.